Do you read a lot?
Yes, absolutely. The reading is the thing I do a lot of.
So you've read a lot of books.
I'm a big reader, I like reading.
You haven't read the publishing phenomenon of recent times, a series of books that sold over 400 million copies worldwide. It's been translated into 67 languages, and the last 4 books have consecutively set records as the fastest-selling books in history. You had never read a Harry Potter.
No.
Listen to the Radio 4. Gasp. Just...
But this is a room full of adults, so I don't imagine that anyone here has read a Harry Potter.
Let's just give me a cheer if you have read a Harry Potter. Yay! Give me a cheer if you haven't read a Harry Potter.
I feel like crowd surfing, but I don't quite know who.
Okay, it's about half. I'm surprised, actually, it's as many as that. Why had you avoided Harry Potter?
For the same reason, I suppose, that I haven't read a noddy book since I was 8. The little stories for 10-year-olds, written by a woman who was not imaginative enough to come up with a little boy who didn't do magic, which would be the really hard thing to write a story about. It's all fine, but grown-ups shouldn't be reading books like that. And I mean, if
shouldn't be reading books like that. That's quite extreme. I mean,
but grown-ups should be reading, at the very least, reading newspapers, should be reading books written for them. They should be reading books about people who don't play Quidditch. You don't play an invented rubbish game that doesn't even really work anyway when you're hunting the golden snitch. It's not a thing. You can read it to your children and quite like it. That's what that's for. Winnie the Pooh and stuff, you might go back and revisit it out of a sense of nostalgia. But Harry Potter started the bleed into people who don't read much anymore, and they go, Harry Potter, at least it's got him reading. He's 53! You know?
That's no way to talk about Michael Gove.
There's bad literature for grown-ups. There's Jeffrey Archer for that. At least something, at least something where the answer is not a magic wand and, ooh, Hermione, I'll just quickly turn you into a frog. The woman, she writes like she's been dropped on her head. She doesn't know what an adjective is for. She doesn't... J.K. Rowling has never observed the world and thought about how to try to convey it. It's why she invented a magical school with dragons and stuff in it. So she always says, Harry, said Hermione, with a mixture of anxiety and greed. And you think, no, they don't go together at all, my head's frying. And then Harry's face looked at once depressed and happy. Or Ron would feel strangely, miserably looking forward to the thing. And it all just disappears, eats itself, because she has no idea what real people do or real people think. The only people I'm interested in are the Dursleys, because they can't do magic. And frankly, I'd lock the little so-and-so up under the stairs when the owls came through bringing the letters from his school.
Yeah.
Because he got stabbed by Voldemort when he was a baby, and has got a lightning scar on his head.
He wasn't stabbed. Giles, the pure love that his mother expressed for him at the moment of the attack filled him with a sort of resistance to Voldemort's spell, which fired it back at Lord Voldemort, whose name we shouldn't even be saying, and may or may not have killed and/or destroyed him were it not for the Horcruxes. Now,
have you just spoiled the stuff that happens?
Yes, I have. That was a massive spoiler, if anybody understood what I was talking about.
The Horcruxes. That my only problem, it's like dancing, it's being pressured. I was having grown-ups telling me to read it. I went to a wedding and everyone was sitting about afterwards, sort of a bit hung up, and someone read out pages and pages of, oh wow, that's really great. And there was a sort of pressure that you were supposed to read Harry Potter, and I started to feel a bit of an idiot that I didn't read it. Much like dancing, I don't like peer pressure to do something which is a bit basic and a bit stupid and basically for children. But however, because I was coming on this show, I obviously read it.
Yes.
And I thought it was brilliant. I thought it was, I'm
over the moon, Giles.
And I'm currently reading the second one. And
he's on the Chamber of Secrets!
It's much more fun than serious American fiction. I mean, I've read the whole of Saul Bellow, and I'd rather read The Philosopher's Stone again.
I'm so pleased.
But it's for children, and it's kind of a good thing for children.
Not just for children either, it's for Giles Coren, who likes it.
Yes, but I like it, but I'm conflicted.
Yeah. OK, you've read Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone. Your marks out of 10, please.
Oh, I'll give it 10 out of 10.
10 out of 10! Now, what music do you listen to?
I'm not a very musical person. I don't listen to an awful lot of music. I listen basically to stuff that are from a brief window between about 1979 and 1985.
Well, for that reason, I asked you to listen to the charts.
Yes.
Now, strictly speaking, I have broken the rules of I've never seen Star Wars, because you have listened to the charts before, but never as an adult, which I know is
not since I was 12, not since it was
a
Peter.
subtle distinction.
Yeah.
But
not since Peter Powell was 74.
You listened to the charts on Radio 1 hosted by Reggie Yates.
I listened to them, and I thought, I'm going to have to talk about them. I will be honest, some of them are quite hard to distinguish from each other, those songs. So I then went back, and I sat down in front of my laptop, and I thought, YouTube, this thing that they listen to. And I watched all the videos for free of the thing. I don't know if that's illegal, but I used to wait for the top of the pops, and then it was Legs and Co. And then you wait for the video. I still haven't seen the video for Prince Charming, because I was away, and the video recorder didn't work, and then you could never, there was no way of seeing it. I could look it on YouTube, couldn't I?
Yes, you could.
Well, I can now.
It's definitely on
I watched all the videos for free, exactly what I wanted to. It sort of I realised why people like the internet. Quite pretty, some of the girls. But some of the stuff they do, and some of the things the men say about them. It's all bleeped out on Radio 1, though. It was literally, some of the hip-hop stuff, literally just bleeps. No idea who wanted to do what to whom and why she wasn't going to recover.
Oh, really?
Yeah, really, absolutely everything was out.
What from the current top 20 did you particularly like?
The first one was I Need a Doctor by Dr. Dre. Okay, so that just about flew back to me. And then it was actually Eminem. And I remembered, yes, they never tell you actually who's singing it. And Eminem counts for me as a rare example. And all the stuff that Dr. Dre produces, which is songs where they make stories about themselves, about real life, into a song. And that vaguely counts as art, I think. Whatever you think of the hip-hop, rap, or whatever else, they're not just shouting about hoes and bitches and all the things they're going to do.
Well, not on every track.
They're there because they have to be there. They're like a French art house movie with a boob, they seem to me to tell actual stories, whereas a lot of the other hip-hop was just sort of scary. There were two things I had got to say, in terms of, for the first time, I had never heard a Lady Gaga song. Yeah. I said to my wife, I just heard a Lady Gaga song. She said, it's Lady Gaga, say Gaga. So I'd never heard an Adele song, and then I watched the video, and she was white. I'm sure everybody knows that, but I was quite surprised.
Because Adele's got such a soulful voice.
She just sounds to me like a sort of... The thing I liked about Adele compared to all the other songs there was that all the other songs started off 20 seconds, 30 seconds, some girl singing a nice love song, and then some bloke comes in, starts telling her what he's going to do to her. And basically all the pop music, all the songs in the charts basically tended to sound like pop songs when I was little, with an angry bloke arriving halfway through and shouting inane rhymes. Yeah. They all sort of do that, and then Lady Gaga did it for herself. She does the singing, and then she does her own angry rhyming bit over the top. And then they all have to do, they're two separate things, and it leads to everything sounding very similar. Jennifer Lopez on the floor, it's the lambada. She sings the lambada, and then someone comes along and starts saying what they're going to do. They rhyme in the morning light and in the night, and I got in the car and I went far.
Snoop Dogg, I don't know how much Snoop Dogg you've listened to, but he has gone much further with his... There wasn't any Snoop Dogg in...
There was.
There was
Snoop
Sweat.
Dogg.
But Snoop's rhyming scheme is brilliant, because anything that doesn't rhyme, he just puts izzle on the end, and then adds izzle to the next word. So you'd be Giles Kizzle, and I'm Marcus Brizzle, and so our names rhyme.
I'd be so happy to be in a Snoop song. I wouldn't care what he called me, Frank. No, he's great. This is not a terrific song, Sweat, because the song is I'm going to make you sweat. And obviously it's not because I'm going to give you a really strong cheddar. Is it? The way Snoop is planning to make this lady sweat it was entirely bleeped out. But he's a good musician and a funny man, and a talented writer, and is one of that generation of Dre and Ice-T and all that. He's a good person. But the rest of these fools, Wiz Khalifa, there's a song called Black and Yellow. It's just about having loads of tattoos and being in a gang and shooting people, and I don't mind. It's fine if it's what people do, but it's sort of. I don't want to make judgments about him, but he's not funny and clever and everything. He just and he talks, and all he talks about is money, which is a thing which all the really good rappers make a joke and they drink their Cristal. Tell you the other thing, this Wiz Khalifa, he talks, and we were drinking Cliquot, and that's 24 quid in Threshers. That's not impressive. They're meant to drink Cristal and Dom. He's some low-rent bloke drinking cheap, non-vintage champagne. And he's... Oh, well, thank you for that, man. And he's talking about his money, and he's saying, I've got so much money, like I'm going to buy a Volvo or whatever. And he came just after a song by a girl called Jessie J, Price Tag, in which she's singing about the money doesn't matter. She's definitely trying to make it into a vile, venal, greedy business and make lots of...
Yeah.
But she's nonetheless... It's nice if they at least sing about the money isn't the important thing. When they talk about all those sort of vulgar values, it's worse.
Did listening to the charts press the sort of nostalgia button for you? Had you, as a teenager, hunched over the radio with a C90 taping the whole thing and done all of that?
Yeah.
Do you remember the anxiety of looking in through the little window into the tape deck and trying to work out whether there was enough tape there to get the whole of the song, and just looking at it spooling round going, oh, don't get to the clear bit of tape before the song ends? And then if it did, you have to open it and turn the tape over halfway through the song, try and press play and record again.
And that terrible heartbreaking bit when it would go dip, whip, 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 and you pull it out and there was just straggles of it everywhere. And you're spooning it back in, and you spoon it all the way back in, but you'd have just twisted it so it was all back to front.
Yeah. I had a permanently blistered fingertip from winding tapes
Yes, sure you did. Sure
with my finger. Okay, well, your mark's out of 10 for the experience of listening to the charts.
It's very hard to do because half the songs are good and half of them are terrible. It was quite an eye-opener. I mean, I quite liked it. I mean, I'd give it 9.
9 out of 10 for listening to the charts. Well, Giles, with the exception of throwing some shapes this evening, you've embraced everything, which I've been very, firstly impressed by and very grateful for. If there was one thing that you could do, budget, no object, what would it be?
It's strange. Does it sound really sad and wrong, having given the things I've chosen? If there was one thing I could do, it would be to dance.
Oh, I'm so tempted to declare it a lock-in and just... just get everybody in a circle and just make you do the hokey-cokey until the joy grabs hold of you. But it would be to dance. Well, I think you will.
To dance happily at a party and everyone stand around stamping their feet and clapping while I just do something wicked, like standing on my head and spinning round and round. I would die happy.
I think you will. And if you don't stand on your head, I will. So there you are. Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in thanking Giles Coren.